Welcome to Dianne Show, and this is the series of the Game Changers. And I'm so happy today to have a very special guest, Jackie. Jackie, welcome to the Game Changers.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, Jackie, first I would let you introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll talk more about yourself.
So, my name is Jacqueline Correia. I'm a financial advisor. I've been in the financial industry for over 30 years. What I do, I help people with their finances. I protect them, I protect the risks, and I help them build wealth. And one of my goal is to educate as much people as I can. So, whoever comes into my space, it's always, as I said, my gift and hope that when they leave, they always leave a much better person. They're much educated and they must feel a sense of, welcome and satisfied, fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it is a nice feeling when you can educate someone or you can give something to someone that make their life much easier. So that is always my goal, whether it's through a conversation, what is through education, what is helping them financially. That is my purpose. That is my goal. That's my gift to life.
And that's amazing. And the reason why I wanted to bring on the Game Changers is, the Game Changers is a show about people making a difference, whether it be socially, economically,
Hmm.
empowering people, their volunteer, the contribution to society. And you do this on so many different levels. And I know you're passionate about what you do. The fact, some people may actually go out in the field and help people. It
Hmm.
doesn't really matter. The point is you're making a difference. And here you bring in education, literacy,
Hmm.
because you have so many backgrounds that you bring that to the forefront. I know when we have conversations, you always inspire me. So that's a form, as well as empowering someone else as well, regardless. So I want to
Hmm.
thank you for that, and I wanted you
Thank
to
you for having.
share a bit about to our audience, our beautiful audience, who if you're joining us now, please do shout out to us as well, or share this with someone, because there's a lot of information you're going to share with us. I'm just going to put Jackie's contact information here as well, where you can get in touch with her in the meantime. So tell us a little bit about exactly that step by step. You meet a client, okay? How
Okay.
do you meet? We're going to do the baby steps. When you meet a client, how do you typically meet your client?
Well, there's varies. I mean, it could be a referral. It could be the fact that I've made a put out a commercial. Or sometimes I'm just in an environment and I have a conversation and something might come up. It's just so many different ways. I don't like, I remember when I first came in this business, I kind of did this business as like a marketer. You always like, which is something that I always was very uncomfortable with because I'm a relationship builder. I build long-term relationships with my clients and just anybody that knows me. It's a long-term relationship. It's not just a one shop thing and that's it. And if that's what a client wants, it doesn't work well with me because this business is cradle to grave. Like you start with one, we could start from just buying a life insurance to next thing you know, this family may want to buy a house and then I may have to help them and guide them. And I use a lot of my own personal experience, you know, being a single mom. I show them what I did to purchase my own home, by myself. And I mean, I know today's market's kind of crazy, but those days, even though I found it to be hard, I believe anything is possible if you really want it that bad.
I
And so,
appreciate I appreciate that. Here's one of the things that you said that's really key, and I want to address before we go
mhm,
any further. You're a business owner,
mhm,
but the business doesn't come first. You're a
no,
relationship builder.
yes,
That's what it is. And I
yes,
believe that's where people get confused and say, this is a business. I
mhm,
want to sell. I want to sell. I want the
no,
clients. I have the niche. But they look at it different because they put the money first. You
right.
put the money first. And maybe at one point in time you did, like most people do. But that's quickly, I'm sure you did. We all did.
Right.
We flipped around. And
So,
that's what
so
happened.
I think what happened was, first of all, it's very different when you are working by yourself than when you have to, like, so when I first came into this business, I came in under a chain, or what do you call a franchise. So with a franchise, you have somebody else's salary to pay. So the pressure is different. And so they take away the gifts that you may have as a person because their job is to make money. That's why it's so important. I find that when people get into business, they should know what is truly their passion, or what works well for them. So I mean, for me, why it worked out for me was because my greatest love was people. You know, I knew to do that well long before I came into this industry. So I'm a nurturer by nature. So when I meet you, I want to just help you. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it means that, you know what, I can't help you here, but I know of a friend can help you. So I never turn my back on a situation or people. My thing is, I always want to make a difference in someone's life when they first come into my space. They must always remember Jackie for how warm she was, you know, whether it was just a smile I offer them, but how they felt when they came into my space. And then everything else fall into place. Because when you can build relationships, the rest, man, is a walk in the park.
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to serve everyone. I'm here to serve the people that God has put into my life to serve. But I can still make a difference, whether it's a kind words, a smile, just telling them how good they look, or, you know, just making someone feel good is the importance, right? And so for me, I find why I am successful is because of the relationship building. Because when I left the franchise, my client says, I don't care where you're going, because I am doing business with Jacqueline Correia, not a corporation. And so if we can take that and just build relationships, the business will fall into place. And so I'm
Absolutely.
grateful that I was able to get to this place where I knew where I was is not where I needed to be. But I also
Absolutely.
knew that everything is a step, like it was baby steps, right? I
Mhm.
took the experience that I got from it and I took the best out of it, and I made notable wealth management where I can be in charge so that I can
Absolutely.
serve my clients the way that it should be done.
I remember when you were going to launch and you were setting it up. It was a tough one. It was a tough
Mhm,
one. Before we go
mhm.
there, because I want to talk about the journey, and this is all about the journey, because I
Right,
want people to understand you just don't wake up one morning and decide this is what it is, right? It doesn't.
right.
How did you feel when you know you're working to the bone, pretty much in a company that, again, yes, it's a company because you're working at people, you're not being recognized the way, and I believe this was the problem. You work the deal, you do everything, and at the end of the day, you don't have much to show for it.
Yeah. So that was the hardest part, because at the end of the day, I was making less than when I had a job.
So let's put those into numbers roughly.
Okay.
Let's put it in perspective because we want to break it down as much
Right.
as we can, right? We're not going to mention any companies or brands.
Right.
But
Um,
the fact
in
is,
the,
let's talk about maybe one of your most, not the most, maybe the turning point. Maybe there was a case or a client that really, you're laughing already, that it
it
was
wasn't
an
so it's
iceberg.
okay. So let
Nice
me just
delicate words
okay.
today.
We're women, we're two women. So I'm gonna tell you the exactly
What
the
ticked you
first
off?
first of all, when I walked into the corporation, I'll call it the firm,
Mhm,
I walked into a boys' club. So,
mhm.
number one, I was competing with men. This was a man's world.
True.
And I was like the second female woman that had joined the team. And then
But
I,
this, before we go any further, Jackie, this sounds kind of really, oh, it's
no, no,
second
no, no.
person.
But let me just,
Yes.
I just,
No,
so
but
that
I'm
was
saying no. But what I'm saying is, you would think that. the
in
company
this time.
is huge. Exactly. There's only two women. You're the second woman, and there's so many women in this industry.
Right. But
There's
so for
something
this
wrong there.
particular branch, though,
Hmm.
I was the second female that had entered, I guess, in a long time.
Okay.
And so you know, these were the challenges that I hit, and I'm so grateful for the journey because I had gone through this in the 80s when I first came to Canada, and I was told I had an accent. Um, my skin color wasn't right, like the whole thing. So in my mind, I had already lived through that. So we're in 2013. Why am I still dealing with this? So that was the first thing that I came across that made me felt, wow, we're still in that time. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So
And there are people right now in
mhm,
companies who are still stuck in that time.
mhm,
They
mhm.
dress the same way. They think the mentality is the same because they haven't moved forward.
Right, mentally, the mindset, right?
Mhm.
And then they didn't, you see, what they didn't realize that I come into a business that I still had the responsibility of taking care of a mortgage. My kid was in university, and I had to hustle. So it
Mhm.
wasn't about trying to fit in, it was about me trying to just survive and pay my bills. So I came into the business and I had a lot of contacts because by this time it was like 25 years. I had made a lot of connection. So, you know, they taught me how to prospect and how to do my thing. And I just reached out to people that I knew, and they were just so welcome because again, when you build relationships, people are just welcome to open their arms and bring you into their house. Let me see what you have to offer, you know. And a lot of especially I was selling something that everybody needs, right? And then they sell you, they say they're rewarding you, right? But they don't actually tell you this, that you're buying a block of business as you go along. So you're buying somebody who's retired business. So now here I'm trying to hustle. They don't actually tell you that you're buying these things. They're saying, oh, we're rewarding you for this, and so on and so forth. And so now you have a loan, so every month you start to pay this. And the funny part in all of this, one of the old guys started to purge my clients. So here I am trying to do my thing. And then my clients are being like, literally be like stealing from me. Right. So this is a block of this on top of what I've had. I bought, and now I'm trying to reach out to them. And so this is what happened. That they were now trying to, like, because I was, you know, here again, I'm the girl coming in, and they're trying to purge my clients, right? So I had to deal with that, and I dealt with it. I went straight to the top, and I said, I am not having this. I said, you're going to deal with this right now because I paid for this block, because now I know I'm paying for this block. And I said, this person's retired. How can he, you know, so the manager at the time nipped that in the bud, because remember, I was told that this is my business. And,
That's your asset. That's basically
right.
your
So this
asset.
is my business, right? That's how it's taught to you, but it's actually a career and you own nothing. Trust me. So,
And that's franchises all over. It's a
right.
job. Franchises, you
But
really
when
don't
you
get
don't know, like, you see, the thing is, like, when you don't know what you know today, you go in because, again, you know, I had lost my job. I had been unemployed for 2 years. So I had demolished my savings the 2 years that I was unemployed. And so, you know, I now had to make this work. So it wasn't a choice of, you know, do I stay here or do I go back to a job? I couldn't see myself going back to a job. So I said, I have this 2 license. I got to make this work. You know, I have a kid that I made a promise that he will stay in university, and I have a mortgage to pay, and I am not losing my home. So I'm going to make this work. So I work 7 days a week. I worked Sundays. I worked Saturdays. I worked every day. Didn't matter what. I didn't take any holidays for like the first 2 years because I had to make it work.
absolutely. So,
Right.
who are some of the people? So, let's say as we move on, because time goes really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But how are some of your clients, rewarding clients, or people you just really sometimes save their lives? I'm
Let
sure
me
you
just
have
no,
stories.
let me share it to you. First of all, I'm going to say God saved my life because He actually put me in certain positions that worked for me. And I'll tell you the situation that my dentist, he was my dentist for 30 years, and it's not like I didn't want to ask him, but I just felt because he was so much older, I had that respect, that elder respect, and I never wanted to mix business with pleasure.
Mhm.
So this one day, I remember I was like, so I'm in this business, I supposed to be making money, right? But some months I wasn't making anything because by the time the loan taken off, I had nothing. That's the part, the part that you don't hear about, they don't teach you about, they don't tell you these things, right? I would have just been better off like the way I'm doing it right now, just build my business from zero up, right? And it's just my business. So he calls me and he says, this broker came to my house and he told me about this thing. It seems like a great idea, but I want you to come and read this policy for me. And I want you to look over this policy. I was like, no, listen, when my elders say to do something, and I've had these people in my life for a long time, we're old school, right? We honor and respect them. So I packed my bag, my suitcase where my
Not
computer
expecting
was.
anything. That's expecting
No,
anything whatsoever.
no,
That's a
because
key
they
point.
asked me, he's my dentist for 29 years. I'm going. And I went. I read over the thing. I said, it's a great product. It was long-term care. I said, this is a great product for you. He says, now this man does not know that I have tuition, which is $4,000 to be paid on the 1st of February. I have no money. You remember I tell you I have a negative right now. And he says, okay, then I want you to have this policy. I am not doing business with this broker. I'm doing business with you. I said, okay, calm as ever. I made a call into, because the policy wasn't approved. It was just like an application, right? He was just about to send it in. And I said, okay. So I said, well, I have to do it on my stuff because even though it was the same company, he was doing it from a broker. I was doing it from a career sales. So so I did the application online, and that deal there paid me 10 grand, right? And I'm like, all I could say is look at God because he didn't know that I needed that money for the 1st of February.
Mhm.
He just like out of the blue, as I said. And with me, as I always say, when a client calls me or when somebody that is really close to me says I need help, I don't think about, oh my God, I'm going to drive gas to Markham Road. I said, okay, he's my, elder. He's been my dentist and I'm just going to go and help him. And that's what I did. And in return, that paid my son's tuition for the next quarter or however, the school year, because it was like February to April, right? And that covered my tuition for my son and plus pay my overheads for the month of February. So for me, I didn't reach out to this person. And these are little miracles that I have had throughout my career that where all of a sudden I may get a call and I'm like, look at God. Here we go again. And I just smile and say, thank you, Lord. And so I mean that one was real because I was sitting there thinking, Lord, only you that I can rely on because you're going to have to send me a miracle. And that day was my miracle.
And here's the thing. One of the things we're doing as as the coach, the experiential coach, which I am, and I broke down the acronym of coach, what this coach means, right? COACH. And the O in there is for the opportunity, the openness. The people are open to the opportunity because everything is a test.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things a lot of people don't understand is that they look at the value, the money behind it first. So what is it valued? Not the
Mm-hmm.
fact that there's an opportunity there knocking on your door and
Right.
to see if you're going to grab it. So the O in the coach stands for the opportunity, but are you open to it?
Right.
which is
Right. And
key.
that's the thing. And so I have, and I mean, my entire life, I mean, as I get older, I should say more, but that's the thing. You always have to be awake and open in order to receive what is truly for you. And I think you hear me talk about the flow of life, right? Is that you do have to be open, and you, as you said, the opportunity, because once you're open and awake, meaning open and awake to what's coming to you,
Yes.
you'll always be able and be prepared for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, you don't know. And those were, I mean, I've had times where people just come from nowhere. And I'm thinking, okay, we give, Jackie. And this is
Right.
why I have you here today, because it's not about the money, it's not about the business, it's what you have given over the years to
Hmm.
people, the time, money,
Yes.
and energy you have given to people. Where people, I mean, your dentist is say, okay, you know, you've built that relationship,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
rapport with him, that he was winning and trust. Although he's in your mouth and he's treading your mouth and everything, and
Yeah, but
you know how they're so set in their ways, like you
mhm,
said, in the generation. For him to come to you now and say, Jackie, I would like you to do this, has a lot to do with your trust.
right,
It has a lot to do with, you know, am I going to cross the line? But he didn't see you there. He saw you as an expert.
right,
Now, we don't want to say here that the firm, you got some really good training, very
right.
intense training, which has helped you. But one of the things I always say, that you never know what you're being tested for. I always have to bring the holistic side in this, because that's what it is. I know you're very holistic as well. But the fact is, those male energy was there to really make you stronger and to push
Mhm.
you to the limit, to say, you know what, if I can play with the big boys, I
But
can.
I had played with the big boys.
Well,
So
you
see,
had it. That was your test. That was
because
your
when
exam.
in corporate, when I was working for corporate America, I reported to the VPs and whatnot. So they were just the pawns. So that was the funny part. I'm like, are you serious? Do you know what I had to put up with and to have the strength that I have today? It's your pawns compared to the kings and queens that I was playing with. And I mean, we're talking about now intellectual guys who are, you know, their finance background. So when I say that, we're talking about these guys are deep, like so deep. You have like the CA who's the accountant and he's the CEO of the company, and the VP who's the finance guy. So when you hear these guys, even I used to be like fumble to like try to figure things out, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother, because these guys, we're talking about the level
Yes,
of education and business expertise, that it was on a different level. It was absolutely a different level. We're talking about big, huge billions of dollars at a time. And here we have these young puppets that are trying to like play with ice. I'm like, you're trying to play with me? No. So that was why and many times I just went around them, because they were not like, I was in a position where I knew the end of the day I just had to do my numbers. So all the noises that were coming from them, I knew they couldn't affect me until I responded, right? And so the only time I responded is when I saw when they try to poach my clients. And then I said, no, 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 no. You're not going to do that. You're not going to disrespect me in front of my face, because I had a couple things coming in. I was a woman of color, and first of all, I was a woman, and then I was a woman of color. So those were two disadvantages. So they just thought, well, she was a black woman or a woman of color, and she's a female. So we're gonna show her who's in charge. And it was like it didn't work very well for them. So, and that's the thing. Like it's just, but we do have a far way to go still, because I think maybe the next 20 years before we could see that true change in people mindset, because we're still seeing it today right across the world.
absolutely. And here's the thing about it as well, is the fact that I know you, like I said, you do actually do a lot of work in the community,
Hmm.
directly and indirectly as well, and at the end of the day, you're looking at, we all want to grow business, but we want to continue to build this relationship,
Hmm.
rapport. And people who are looking for, and I'm saying this, people who are looking for building a relationship in business, in your particular case, I urge you to reach out to Jackie because she would put you first before the
Mhm.
business. And I know that for a fact. She will put you first. She's very knowledgeable. She's there when you need her. She works 7 days a week. Maybe now she's taking a few,
Five.
hours off.
I work five now. I try to do five. I still work some weekends, but maybe one weekend a month, but not
Well, I
as
mean,
before.
you work as needed. You work
Right, and I should say
as
that because as
as
Donovan was saying that to me, he says, people don't realize that you work your business all the time, right? And it means that if a call comes in, I take that call, even though it might be 9:30, right?
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
so but it's your business, right? So and that's for me, it's my business. I'm passionate about this. So I just like to, my clients know that they can reach me whenever they reach out to me. And if they're reaching out to me at a certain time, it means that it is something important to them, right? And you, as you said, it's sometimes it's not even about the business itself. They might be doing something else. Like I have this couple right now that working on their will, and so even though it's not my area, they still ask me my thoughts, as this is what they're trying to do, and which lawyer should they go to. And I mean, I have two different lawyers that I work with. And and in this case I said, well, you need to go to a family law one compared to the business slash guy who will do your will. And again, it depends, right? So if it's a business owner, you may need to see Brandon, because he does business law, even though he does wills and power of attorney too. But then if it has to do with legacy and or commonwealth cohabitated agreement or getting married, then I'd have to send it to Barry, because Barry does more family law,
Absolutely.
right?
I want to touch on that quickly. What people don't understand in wills, it's not one size fits all. That's
No,
you should not go and pick up a will kit. People don't understand this.
especially when you have assets and
Well,
children.
especially if you have a business too.
Hmm.
And one of the things I always recommend to people is to secure your family. And the reason why we have a will is so, of course, the authorities, the big guys, don't really take almost like
Right.
40-50% off, but people don't really
Exactly.
work hard for it. But the idea is, and to tie it up with all the problems and issue with the probate. But the fact is that for your children's children,
Mhm.
the legacy, you can actually do it in trust,
Right.
whereby it's set up for them. So anybody who comes into, because right now relationships don't work out for that, for the love until the till death do us part. We know that. We have to be serious, honest about that.
Right.
Open. And then you have people coming in, and there's so many people out there. I'm not judging anyone, but there's so many people out there, will get involved on emotions and so forth. And marriage just doesn't work. And of
Mhm.
course, you have to come out. But if you protect that
Right.
inheritance for your legacy, it goes a long way. So you do it in a way so you see someone's
Hmm.
and because you're into wealth management, you have to talk to somebody like Jackie who would say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how your assets, how you divide up this. This is your income, especially if you're retired, what we need to do now because you don't have that income coming in anymore.
Right.
So at one point in time, you do retirement planning, you
Mhm.
do all different types of plannings.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I had a client this week. She's my client, but she originally had another career, but she went to school and had her business, and she just happened to reach, because as I said, a lot of my clients call me, like, out of the blue, and just have a conversation, even though it's not business, right? And we had this conversation, and she says, oh, I was going to put my career, like my job, on hold for a year. And I said to her, why are you putting one foot out and one foot in? I said, you're giving the universe mixed messages. If you're going to go for your business, you need to go all in. I said, from the day I met you, you despise this business, this job you're in, and you're still holding on to the past, while you could be 4 years ahead in the next 2 years. And it was like, she goes, oh my God, do you understand? I've been fighting with this for the last 3 months, and you just made a decision for me.
That's exactly what people want. People want you to make
The
that decision for them. And
I didn't make it. I just
no, you didn't make it, but they feel you made
right.
it. And
But
they were just waiting for confirmation for what they were feeling with the emotions. That's
okay,
what it
and
was.
actually, yes. So, but the beautiful part about it was, so we started to talk. So I know where she works and everything. I said, but you have a pension. This is the kind of like the icing on the cake. I said, but you have a pension with them. And so I asked her for the numbers, and she's like, well, I only have she gave me a number. And I said, so what happened to the career before? She goes, oh, well, I rolled it into this one. So I just left it alone. She goes, I did take some time off. And so I think maybe that's why. And I just left it alone. I said, okay. I said, before you make any decisions, though, call your HR department, ask if you could get the commuted value from your pension. Now, that is very important, the word commuted value. It means that you're leaving a company and you're not leaving your pension with the company.
Mhm.
Because what people don't realize is that you'll be better off to remove your pension from a company and have full control of that pension with an advisor like myself or any advisor. Because if something happens to you within that 10-year period and you pass, your beneficiary gets the full 75% that is remaining. But if you stay with that company and you pass, your beneficiary only gets 55% of that 75%.
Okay, good
So
to know.
people don't realize that. So you're leaving your money with a company that is going to take that and reinvest it, and they're getting richer, and you've just lost that difference between 75 and 55. So
I want to
people,
thank you. Wait, I want to thank you for saying something. Here's the thing what people don't understand. Everybody in business, except for us, everybody in business, companies and corporations,
are to make money.
thrive on other people's money and invest in other people's money.
Yes.
And you don't realize banks are famous for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the bank I used to work for, they're selling up all their real estate because they're, with everything else and the leasing and so forth, because now they have everything's been changing. But the point is, and the fact is that how they get all their profits
It's true,
is
you and
what
I.
your money.
Yeah.
And you get nothing much if you get a few pennies interest,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't get a few pennies interest. They get a lot more
Yes.
in the
Yes.
return because they're taking Jackie's money to lend it to me
Yes. Yes.
at a much higher rate.
Or they want you
And
to open a tax-free savings with them at 0.42, and they take that money and turn around and lend it to you on a credit card at 19%.
yeah. So what is that few I mean, yes, you may get the tax breaks and so forth, but eventually, regardless of tax break, you still end up going to pay in the long term.
Yes.
So I wanted, and a lot of people don't understand that. I had that conversation with someone recently about 0% financing.
Right.
There's really no such thing as 0% financing, to tell you the truth.
Seriously.
Right? They don't. It's just a myth. It's just, false advertising. You really have to
Mm-hmm.
know. I know when I got a vehicle many, many, many years ago, and the guy was really sweet. And when I was going to upgrade, and he said, we took the 0%. Those days, 0% was a big thing, not anymore.
Right.
Depends if the company is financing their own finance company or not.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was going to upgrade, maybe about a year and a half after the SUV, he said, no, don't do it. Because they actually add the interest, the projected interest into the principal, added up, divided by how many years, and give it
36
back.
months.
Well, this was 5 years in this
Right.
years.
They're still doing it though. They're
So
still doing it. Remember, I came from leasing, right? So I know they do it still.
well, they do it because people want to get the lowest payment possible.
Right.
And I've been there whereby people would call in and say, because I'm on the bank side, where can I drop my keys off? And here, but they're still responsible. I was just speaking to
Yeah.
some collection, a finance collection person, and she's saying they're still on the hook for that,
Mhm.
regardless if you give up or walk away
Mhm.
from it. So, and this is why we get a lot of phone calls and phone calls and phone calls and phone calls from collection departments and so forth. But the point behind all of this is you need to know your product. You need to know what you're getting yourself involved in. You also should have the education before you step into something. Ask somebody like Jackie, contact us
Mhm.
or whoever the case may be. Do some homework. And this is where a lot of people, because we live in a multicultural society, that people don't understand the ins and outs. They see a sign and think, oh yeah, it's all great. No, that's not the case. And that's where you get in a hook for a lot of things. And there's a
Yeah.
lot out there people don't know about. So
One of the other ones too is when people feel that they can't, they come back with their car, for instance, and says, "Oh, the premium is too high," so they trade it in and get another car. They don't realize that they've taken the debt from the first car, put it onto the second car, bring down your payments a little lower, because now they thought, "Oh, well, I have a newer car with a lower payments." They don't realize that they've taken the rest of debt that you had owned from the first car and put it on there, because nothing is for free.
and then you have the amortization, whereas the
Yeah.
number of years you take to pay it off. So if you were paying off 5 years and you were like 3 years, you add
Hmm.
another, you go back to square one. There's so much to learn. And this is why I want to thank you so much for being with us, because it's sitting with people like Jackie and say, this is what my budget is. Where do I need to be, diverse in different
Hmm.
areas? Can I do stocks? Can I do, do I have to do RSPs? Um,
And RSP just means RSP is not for everyone,
no, it's not for
especially
everyone.
business owners. You know, it's not for, like, I personally don't put money into RSP. Like, I have monies that are in RSP, but as a business owner, right now it's not feasible for me because of the write-offs.
Hmm.
So again, you have, and again, it comes down to the accounting part of it, and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because if you have all that write off and you're only paying like 15% tax or 20% tax right now, it may not be worth you putting money to RSPs so that you'll be taxed later on at a higher bracket. So you have to also know, sometimes it might be best to pay a little bit now than end up paying at 55% at retirement, which I do have clients that's what's happening to them, not because of me, but of because nobody sat down with them and let them know that they had a pension at work, so they shouldn't have been putting any more money into RSPs. So
But
now
here's the
that
thing. In the 80s, 90s, 2000, all you heard about was RSPs and
Mhm,
GICs. That's all you ever heard about, because that was it.
mhm,
And then it got to a point where, I mean, when interest rate was high back in those days,
right,
it made sense because you were making money in it, and it's probably like a 1 year GIC or 3 years. And that was the talk of the town.
yeah,
You didn't
but
have
it's
no much
not
about
for
mutual
everybody.
funds.
It's
Yeah,
definitely not for everybody.
you didn't know much about mutual funds. You didn't know much about
Right.
investing and stocks and so forth. And over the years, but again, and these are the those who are retiring, and they got caught up in that. So what do
Mhm.
they do now? Because now they have to live on the pension and so forth. But Jackie, there's so much we can talk about, but
Yes.
unfortunately, I would love for people to reach out to Jackie and have a conversation, because one of the key things she said that I took away from all of this is the fact that every business is about relationship.
Mhm.
It's not about business. It's not about money. The relationship will bring the money,
Yep. Not the other way around.
not the other
and
way
and
around.
that's the beauty of being notable wealth management. I'm able to build my relationships. It's not about the money. So I mean, like right now, a lot of my clients are my existing clients that are coming back to me, and they're doing new business, which is either, as I said, this individual just left the company and I was able to come into that story. By her retiring, she's going to actually, she ended up getting a lot more than she thought she had. But because she could only put X amount in a lira, she's going to have cash in her bank, which is going to help her through the beginning state, the embryo stage of her business. So that was her biggest fear. And now she's in a better position to get some cash to just do what she needs to do to still have that cushion while she builds her business. You know?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, if you don't know how to deal with your finances right now, when you get into business, it's not going to work,
No.
because it's like I said, how you do one thing, it's how you do everything. And it's a mirror of how your mindset, your
Yeah.
organizational skill, how it's structured, and to be structured. Because at the end of the day, I know as a business owner, I'm going to say this upfront publicly, admin stuff and those things, No, although I'm a finance person, all in the background, but for yourself, it's always different because you
Yeah.
have to have somebody to come in and
Yeah.
do that with you and have a
And that's the thing.
because
Like
you
I
don't
have an
see
amazing assistant, and she will do that letter in 5 minutes, which will take me 5 hours. So yeah, I know that. So I don't. I say to her, I always say, "You're my left hand." So there's
it.
certain things I'm not playing. I work on my strength because my strength is the money making, and her strength is the administration. What it takes her 5 minutes, it'll take me 5 hours. So why would I spend time in the administration, right? And that's something that I'm creating right now. As I said, the business acumen where you use the color coding to separate what's the blues and what's the greens and so on, which is the block time blocking.
I
And
look forward to seeing that actually. I look forward
yes,
to seeing the final product with that, and we'll
I
talk.
know.
And
It's gonna be. I'm hoping to get it ready for the women's International Women's Day next year spring. That's my. I'm hoping.
oh, we will get that done.
I'm
We'll do
praying
this.
and hoping that it'll get there because, in the process, I'm still having to run my own business. But every night, I'm trying to put 2, 3 hours into it just so that I can get it ready. But it's that, as you talk about the game changer, I'm actually bringing forth what is not taught. Even, when you get into business, you sell. But the finance part, as you said, if you don't have the finance part of it or know how to manage the finance part of it, that's the difference that keep you in business. And I think that's how I was able to survive the 5 years at the franchise because I came in with the financial background. So I was able to maneuver myself in that, rough waters and still, even the 2 years that I was laid off, my credit wasn't, I didn't even touch my credit score, didn't get messed up because, I'm a person that believe that you have to save 10% of your salary. In my case, I was saving 20. And that's what saved me for the 2 years that I was unemployed. I mean, I was broke at the end, but I'm grateful that I did not live spending 100% of my paycheck. I would put away that percentage that the company was taking and they invested the difference and matched it. And so I was able to live off of that for the 2 years I was unemployed.
Lovely. And here's one of the things of, about the game changers. We learn how to live in the
Mm-hmm.
chaos of life, the chaos of transition, the chaos of just waking up every day to a new day, not knowing. So, Jackie, I want to thank you so much for being here with us as always. And I know
Thank you
you've
for
done
having
a
me.
great job in all the different shows and programs that we do. And for everyone out there, I'm just saying to you, reach out to Jackie, do a consultation for her, with her. She's going to build a relation. She's there to help you or just answer any question. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to offer her time, connect with her. The information is there right now in regards to how you never know what the relationship will be. You don't know how much money she's going to spend. But one of the things I want everyone to do is to make sure when you sit with her, you be 100% open. And I know she's going to make you do that because if you're not 100% open, then you will unfortunately run into some problems. And
Mm-hmm.
then you probably it's going to cost you. We've all been there, including myself, knowing even what I know. But sometimes we forget about ourselves. Have to let other people take care of us and people you to trust.
Yes.
And
The
I want
trust is the key.
the trust is the key. So I want to say thank you so much for everyone who's been listening. I want to say everyone, Jackie, thank you again so much for being with us as always. And we I honor you and I truly appreciate all the knowledge that you have and always share. It's always inspiring when we talk because I always learn something more and new. And at the end of the day, you know what, girl? I am so proud of you. I'm extremely proud of you.
Well,
So
thank you.
next time on the Game Changers, this is Deanne and Jackie saying, have an amazing day. And you know what? Keep reaching for the stars. If you have a dream of becoming a business owner and you want to know how to do it, reach out to us. We'll tell
Yes,
you
for
what not
sure.
to, what not to
For
do.
sure. Trust me.
But
There's so much to learn, but there's so much in, especially incorporating too, right? And
Yes,
there's
that's
that's a
right.
whole nother show, but just the, should I incorporate or should I not? So
Well, at
the
the end of
things
the
I
day,
learned.
yeah, at the end of the day, to do the incorporation, to be in a sole proprietorship, there's a lot of liabilities involved. You
Yes.
don't want to, so you might as well bite the bullet and figure it out. And the cost is not that much. You just have some more work to do every year.
Right. But
That's
sometimes it's not even worth doing it. If you're not making a certain amount of income, it's not worth doing it, because you also have to bring accountants to manage the income statement, the financial statement. Like, I'm grateful that I actually went to school and these are things that I were taught. I never thought that I would be where I am today, but at least it helped me having not to pay the full
mhm.
income to the accountant, because but someday I'm going to have to pass it over. But in the meantime, as a business owner, I can, because it's still small, I can do it and close it off, before passing it over to them, so that I don't have to pay that
Extra.
whole annual fee
Yeah.
for a year to have them,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah. I always wanted to be an accountant and I didn't. I did the all the sense and I did the courses in college, but
Right.
I didn't pursue it, but I should have picked that up, I'll tell you that much. But anyway, for everyone who's been joining us, I want to say thank you. Catch us, share us,
Thank you.
on the share us the show if you like, put a message there, put a reply, join us next time on the Game Changers. And I want to say thank you all so much for being with us. And
Thank you
thank you,
again.
Jackie, so much. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.